yesterday we were discussing about if then instruction. Okay, so if then instruction. So this is very similar to the if else statement. The if else statement that is available in your C language, right? So what that if else will do is, so usually if condition, so some condition is there. So if this condition is satisfied, if this condition is true, so then few of the statements will be executed. So whatever here within brackets, so whatever the statements that are need to be executed if this condition is true. So if this condition is false, then the else part will be executed. So whatever the statements between these two brackets, these are the else part. Okay, so these statements will be executed if the condition is false. So in the same way, the IT instruction also works. Okay, but here there is a limitation that the number of statements, the maximum number can be only 4. The maximum number of statements that IT supports is 4. Right? So here the true condition is indicated as T. Okay, so T means then in IT instruction, and the false condition is indicated using E, which is else. Right? So T and E. So that is what is given in IT instruction. So if you remember the IT instruction, the general format is, okay, so this is the general format. So IT followed by XYZ followed by condition. Right? So IT XYZ followed by condition. Now what is X? So that is the first question. What is X? So X specifies when should instruction 2 be executed. Okay, when should instruction 2 should be executed. Fine. See, by default, instruction 1, this instruction 1 will be executed only if this condition for the IT instruction is true. Always remember, instruction 1 will be executed only if this condition for IT is true. Okay, so that is by default. So X will tell you when should instruction 2 execute. That is when this condition for the IT instruction is true or when the condition for the IT instruction is false. Okay, so X always tells you when instruction 2 should be executed. Right? Y always tells you when instruction 3 should be executed. That is when the condition for the IT instruction is true or when the condition for the IT instruction is false. So that is what Y says. Okay, and Z, it will tell you when should instruction 4 be executed. That is when whether instruction 4 should be executed if the condition for IT is true or if the condition for IT is false. Right? So that is what X, Y, and Z specify. Right? One thing you have to remember. So by default, the first instruction after the IT instruction, this will be executed only whenever the condition for the IT instruction is true. This is by default. Fine. So this is what IT, the instruction IT is all about. So see, X specifies execution condition for second instruction, Y specifies execution condition for third instruction, and Z specifies execution condition for fourth instruction. Right? So if you see the variants of IT instruction, so you can see IT instruction, so can have maximum 4 statements. So you can see here 4 statements are there. So statement 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? So whenever there are 4 statements, so the complete syntax of IT will be true. That is X, there should be X, there should be Y, as well as Z. There should be Z. Fine, followed by the condition. Right? Suppose, see, the other variation of IT is, so maximum statements it supports is 4, but it can have one statement also. So one statement is also possible. So whenever there is only one statement, what will happen? Whenever there is only one statement, what will happen? X, Y, Z components, you can see here, X, Y, Z components are not present. You can see that here, X, Y, Z are not present. Why? Because see, X will say tell you the execution condition for statement 2. But since there is no statement 2, so no need of including X. Fine? Getting what I'm saying? Next, Y also. Y will tell you the execution condition for statement 3. So since there is no statement 3, no need to include Y. Similarly, no need to include Z. So this is one variant of IT instruction. The second variant is the IT instruction has two statements. The IT instruction has two statements. So this will by default be executed. That is, statement one will be by default executed if the condition for IT instruction is true. The condition for IT instruction is true. Okay, so that is by default. So since there is statement 2 now, so now X is introduced. You can see there is a use of X. So X is needed. Why? Because X will indicate or will tell you when the statement 2 should execute. That is, whether statement 2 should execute if this condition, the IT condition, is true, or the statement 2 should execute whenever this condition is false. Okay, so based on that, you will select X value. So the values X, Y, and Z. So the values that these can take is either a T or a E. So T means true, or then E means else or false. Okay, so that is the values that X, Y, and Z can take. This is the second variation. Next, third variation is, so this IT instruction has only 3 statements. You can see here, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. So since it has 3 statements now, so there is a necessity of X as well as Y. Why? Because X specifies when statement 2 should be executed, and Y will specify when statement 3 should be executed. That is, whenever this statement 3 should execute, whenever condition of IT is true, or whenever condition of IT is false. Okay, so that is what is the use of X, Y, and Z. So they can take the values T means then or true, or they can take E means false or else. Okay, so that is what. So same thing is explained here. Whatever I told, same thing is explained here with example. So we'll talk about examples. So this is the first variant. You can say this is the first variant of IT instruction, wherein only one instruction is there. After IT, only one instruction. So what is the format that we discussed? Here, this one. So since there is only one statement after IT instruction, no need of X, Y, and Z. Because this statement 1, it will always execute if this condition for IT instruction is true. If it is true only, this will execute. If it is false, nothing will happen. That's all. Getting this? So that is the first variant. So what is the example? The example you can see here, IT equal, IT EQ. So EQ means equal. And here the instruction is add EQ. So this instruction add EQ, this will execute only if this condition is true. So that is what. See here, this is the same condition is checked here also. EQ and EQ. So add EQ. So R0, R0, R1. Right? So this is the first variant. So what is the second variant? So IT instruction with 2 statements. IT instruction with 2 statements. So in this case, there is a need of X. Okay, there is a need of X because it will tell you when statement 2 should execute. Because by default, statement 1 will execute if the condition for IT is true. Okay, so what about statement 2? When should it execute? That depends on X. Okay, so that is why X is needed here. Fine. So that is the second variant you can see here. So IT followed by X, then condition. And you can see this is having 2 statements. IT X followed by condition. It is having 2 statements, instruction 1 and instruction 2, or statement 1 and statement 2. Right. So now ITE. So if you compare these two, so what is the value of X you are seeing? IT followed by X here. So it is IT followed by E. That is X value is E here. So X value is E. So that means it is else or false statement. That means instruction 2 in this IT block, instruction 2 in the IT block should be executed if this condition of IT is false. Okay, so instruction 2 in this IT block will be executed if the condition is false. Okay, so that is what. So we shall see an example here. So ITE, so E stands for else or false part. That means the second statement in this IT block, which is add ADDLT, which is ADDLT, should be executed only when the condition of the IT block is false. Okay, so what is the condition we are checking for this IT block? ITE GE greater than. Okay, and the first statement of the IT block, the condition is same as the condition of the whole IT block. So GE and GE, you can see both are same. So this GE and this GE both are same. Okay, so ADD GE. Okay, so add if greater than, so R0, R0, R1. Fine. So first statement is executed if the condition is true, that is greater than or equal. Else, so what should happen? So since you have written E, so that is the X value is E. So the second statement will be executed if this condition is false. It is if it is not greater than or equal to, that is if it is less than LT. So what is that? LT. So then the second statement will be executed. Okay, so like this. So there are other variants. So this is with 3 instructions, IT with 3 instructions. So as soon as there are 3 instructions, so need for X and Y will come. Okay, and so this is the complete IT block. So the complete whole IT block wherein there are 4. The maximum instructions are 4, and all the 4 instructions are there here. So hence X, Y, and Z, all the 4 are required. Fine. Yeah. So this is the example I had given you to work out. Fine. So we shall solve this. So first thing is you have to compare R0 with R1. Fine. So how will you compare R0 with R1? So again, I'll take this snapshot of this first. It is not feasible to write in this document editor. So I'll take this screenshot and I'll go to Word so that it is easy to write. This is the C program which you have to convert to assembly using IT instruction. You have to implement this using IT instruction. So first thing is you have to compare R0 with R1. So for that the instruction is CMP. You can use W.W also, no problem. So R0, comma R1. You are comparing R0 with R1. So first statement will verify whether it is correct. Yes. You can see here. Compare R0 with R1. First statement is fine. Fine. First statement that you have converted is fine. Next is, so once you compare these two, so what is the comparison all about? R0 is equal to R1. Whether it is equal to R1. So if R0 is equal to R1, then these two statements should be executed. Okay. If R0 is equal to R1. Else, what should happen? The other two statements should be executed. Very simple. Right? Yeah, so we'll go with the IT instruction. Since there are only 4 statements that need to be executed, I can do this using IT instruction because IT supports maximum 4, and here there are 4 statements only that we need to execute. So hence we'll go for IT. See, if there was a 5th statement here, example, if in the else part, if there was one more statement, that is R3 equal to R3 minus 1, then we cannot implement this. We cannot implement this in IT instruction because there are 5 statements, but IT supports only 4 statements. So we cannot implement this. So since there are only 4 statements that we are dealing with, so we can implement that in IT instruction because maximum instructions IT supports is 4. Okay, so first I'll write IT. Right, IT. So next, so I'll leave these blanks. Okay, so I'll leave the X, Y, and Z blank. Okay, so this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. So I'll leave this blank. So we shall fill this later. Fine. Followed by condition. So what is the condition? The condition is equal. R0 is equal to R1. That is the condition. EQ. Fine. The condition is EQ. So IT X, Y, Z, EQ. The condition is EQ because we are checking whether R0 is equal to R1. Right. So first statement after the IT instruction is, so this first statement, it will always execute if this condition is true. What is the condition we are checking? R0 is equal to R1. Right. So what is that first instruction that need to be executed if R0 is equal to R1? You have to add R3. Okay. You have to add R4 with R5 and store the result in R3. This is the statement, first statement that need to be executed if this condition is true. R0 is equal to R1. So that is the statement I'll write here. So I'll write it as ADD. Fine. Followed by condition. So what is the condition? Equal to. So this ADD should be executed if R0 is equal to R1. So ADD EQ dot W. Okay. Dot W. So I'll go for the 32-bit version. So the destination is R3, followed by the operands are R4, R5. This is the first statement. So we shall see that whether we have written it properly. Yes, we have written it properly. So add ADD EQ dot W I have used, but here it is not used. No problem. You can use dot W also. So R3, R4, R5. Yes, first statement is fine. What about the second statement? So what is the second statement? So R3 is R3 by 2. And this statement should be executed again if R0 is equal to R1. Okay, it should be executed if R0 is equal to R1 only. Okay, so what will be the X value then? This X value. So X value will always give you the condition when the second statement should be executed. When the second statement should execute. So this is the second statement. So when the second statement should execute, in this case, so if R0 is equal to R1. Okay, so hence that means if this condition EQ is true, then only second statement should execute. So that is why X value will be T. Okay, so because second statement should execute if it is if the condition is true, then only the second statement should execute. So that is why X value will be T, true. So what is the second statement? R3 equal to R3 by 2. So this you can implement using division as well as using the right shift by 1 bit. So that is what we discussed yesterday. Right shift by 1 bit, it is also possible, or you can go for division also. So here, yeah, he has gone for arithmetic right shift, ASR. Okay, arithmetic right shift by 1 bit. Okay, so ASR, arithmetic right shift. When and when this condition should be executed, if R0 is equal to R1, R0 is equal to R1 only. So it is equal to R1. So what you have to divide? You have to divide R3 by 2, which is same as right shifting it by 1 bit. So R3, comma, hash 0, 1 or 1. This is the second statement. Fine. So two statements are over, and these two should execute whenever the condition is true. That is R0 is equal to R1. Right. So we will come to the else part now. So in the else part, you can see again there are two statements, and these two should execute only if this condition is false. That is, if R0 is not equal to R1. Okay. R0 is not equal to R1, these two statements should execute. Fine. So that is the else part. So third statement. So what is the third statement? So R3 is equal to R6 plus R7. The third statement is R3. So you have to add R6 with R7. So ADD. Fine. So what is the condition now? It is not equal. So because this statement should execute whenever R0 is not equal to R1. Right? So how that is specified here? It is NE. So not equal, NE. So NE dot W. So what should happen? So R3 is the destination. So you have to add R6 with R7. Fine. So this is the third statement. And when this third statement should execute, if this comparison result is not equal, that is if R0 is not equal to R1, the third statement should execute. So what is the condition that indicates the third statement execution? Y. Okay. So Y indicates when should the third statement be executed. The third statement in our case should be executed if this condition is not true. That is equal is not true. R0 is not equal to R1, then only third condition should execute. Third instruction should execute. So that is why the Y component here, it will become E. Because third statement should be executed whenever R0 is not equal to R1. That is the else part. So whenever the condition is not true. Whenever the condition R0 equal to R1 is not true. So that is why Y component will be E. Right? So now coming to the fourth statement. So fourth statement, what is the fourth statement? Again, it is R3 equal to R3 by 2. So we'll implement that again using arithmetic right shift ASR. Fine. And when this should execute, this should execute whenever the condition is not true. That is R0 is not equal to R1. So again, the condition is not true. So that is NE. Fine. Dot W. Fine. And what should happen? You have to right shift the contents of R3 by 1 bit, okay, and store back the contents to R3 only. Right? And when this fourth statement should execute, whenever the condition is false. So how will you indicate that? You have to indicate that in Z component. And since the condition is false, so how will you indicate the false condition? By E. Okay, so totally it is ITTEE followed by equal to. So this is what the example. So you can see that here also. ITTEE equal to. So this is the conversion of this C language to assembly. Fine. So this is what IT instruction will do. So it will avoid the branching overhead, okay, for simple conditional statements. No need of branching or jumping from one address to another address. So it will take more time. Fine. So don't worry about this instruction barrier and all. Yeah, so next instructions we'll discuss is about saturation operations. Saturation operations. See what do you mean by saturation operations? So I'll give an example for this. So what do you mean by saturation operations means? See, suppose you have to represent a number within a range. Okay, so you have to represent a variable. Let's say that variable is V. So it is a voltage value. Let's say it is a voltage value. So V stands for voltage. Right? So you are keep tracking of this voltage. You are keeping track of this voltage, and you have to represent this voltage. Okay. So let's say I'll use 4 bits. So I'll use 4 bits to represent this voltage value. 4 bits. Right. So I'll use 4 bits to represent this voltage value. So let's say that those bits are bit 3, bit 2, bit 1, and bit 0. So these are the 4 bits I'll use to represent the value of the voltage. And this voltage can be both positive or negative. So voltage value can be positive as well as a negative voltage. Fine. So the idea is we have to represent a voltage value which is both positive as well as negative using 4 bits. Bit 3, bit 2, bit 1, bit 0. So since we are dealing with both positive and negative values, with 4 bits that we have decided to represent the value, fine. So we should be able to represent both negative as well as positive values. So how to do that? So in that case, the MSB bit, okay, the MSB bit will be reserved for indicating the sign. For indicating the sign, MSB bit is reserved for indicating the sign. So in that case, what is the range of the voltages that we can represent? What is the range of the voltage that we can represent with 4 bits? And I'm talking about signed numbers. Why? Because the voltage is positive as well as negative. So it is the voltage is positive as well as negative. So with 4 bits, what is the range that we can represent? Signed numbers. So signed numbers with 4 bits that we can represent is, it is usually, so it is minus 2 power, since we are using 4 bits, so it is 4 minus 1, 2 plus 2 power 4 minus 1 minus 1. Okay, so this is the range of values that we can represent, signed values that we can represent using 4 bits. So if you convert this, what will happen? This is 2 power 4 minus 1 is 3. So it is minus 8, 2. So this is 2 power 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 1 is, sorry, 2 power 4 minus 1 is 3. So 2 power 3 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. Okay, so these are the range of values that we can represent. Okay, using 4 bits and that to signed value. And so this is, we are talking about representing a voltage. Okay. Yeah, so I'll write these values. So B3, B2, B1, B0. Fine. So you can represent up to plus 7. Okay. And you can represent up to minus 8. So let's say I'll keep track of voltage and I'll record the values. Let's say the present value of voltage is 3. So I'll write 3. So 0, 0, 1, 1. This is 3. Present value of the voltage. Fine. So next, at the next instant, the voltage value is 5 already. 0, 1, 0, 1. So this is 5 already. In the next instant, let's say the voltage value is 0, 1, 1, 1. It is 7. Fine. So note that whatever the values that I am representing here, they are within this range, minus 8 to plus 7. Correct? They are within this range. Fine. Let's say at next instant, the voltage value is 8, plus 8. So how will you represent plus 8? So 1, 0, 0. This is plus 8. So all are plus here. So it is plus 7, plus 5, plus 3. So these 3 values were within range. Now I am trying to represent plus 8. Okay, but this is out of range. This is out of range because the maximum value you can represent is 7, plus 7. So it is plus 8. You actually play this 1, 0, 0, 0 with 4 bits. It is not plus 8. It is actually minus 8. With 4-bit representation. This 1, 0, 0, 0. If you take the 2's complement of 8, so you'll get 1, 0, 0, 0. You will get minus 8. So actually, instead of representing plus 8, you are representing it as minus 8. Okay, so this is the problem whenever we are dealing with signed values. Fine. So there will be a particular range. So if that range is exceeded, then we will end up in representing a wrong representation of that particular value. So the actual value is +8, but we are representing it as -8. If you plot this graph, okay, if you plot this graph on a x-y axis, so let's say these are positive values, these are negative values. If you plot these values, so initially the value was 3, okay, so +3. So next it was +5, and next it was +7. Okay, so starting from 0. So this was where it was going. This is the voltage we are. This is the voltage that we are talking about. Okay. So now after +7, the next value is +8. So it should have come somewhere here, +8. Okay. But the maximum range was exceeded. Okay. So we ended up in representing +8 as -8. Okay. Because that is how you represent -8 here. 1 0 0 0 1. So then instead of the graph going to the next value, it immediately went to the negative value here, -8, which was wrong. It should have gone to +8, but instead of going to +8, it came to -8. Okay, so this is what will happen in signed numbers. So this is where saturation comes into play. Fine. This is where saturation instructions come into play, so that we'll avoid such you can say misrepresentation of data, wrong representation of data. So what will happen in signed or unsigned saturation, we shall see. So this Cortex supports two saturation instructions, SSAT and USAT. This is for signed saturation and this is for unsigned saturation. Fine. So when an input signal is amplified, so there is a chance that the output will be larger than the allowed output range. So that is what I told. So the maximum range we had was +7. So if the voltage value exceeds +7, so we will end up in wrong representation. So it should have been +8, but we represented it as -8 because we were using only 4 bits. So that was the limitation. So in that case, what will happen if the value is adjusted simply by removing the unused MSB, an overflowed result will cause the signal waveform to be completely deformed. So that is what we can see the waveform here. So without saturation, what will happen? See, after this positive value here, the maximum positive value is achieved. So if another positive value, if you want to represent, so it will come somewhere here, but that cannot be represented using the number of bits we have chosen. So in our example, it was 4 bits. So hence, instead of going to this particular point, the curve will come and go to this particular point, a negative value. Negative value. So this should not happen because the entire waveform will be wrong. Okay. So that is what it says, completely deformed. The waveform will be completely deformed. So to avoid this, the saturation operation is used, okay, to avoid the distortion. So how the saturation operation is used? So here, so this was the original waveform, original voltage value. So we amplified it. Okay, we amplified the voltage. But here, this is the maximum value that we can represent. So using this dotted line, so whatever the values are there here, this is the maximum values we can represent. So if the voltage value exceeds the maximum values that we can represent, either it is positive or negative, so then if you try to represent it again, so this is what we will have, distorted version. So to avoid this, so we go for saturation. So what saturation means is, so as soon as the maximum positive value is reached, so it will be saturated. You can see it. And as soon as the negative peak value is reached, it will be saturated. So that at least we'll get the somewhat equal or somewhat amplified version only. So we'll not get distortions. Right? So we'll not get distortions. So that is what is the use of SSAT and USAT. So SSAT is for signed values. You can see for this example, we have to signed values. Why? Because there is both positive peak and negative peak. So in such case, we have to use signed saturation, signed values. Fine. So the syntax is SSAT.W RD. So RD is the destination register. Hash immediate, it is the number of bits you want to saturate the value to. So where is the value? The original value is in Rn. So the original value is in Rn. You are trying to saturate this original value to a value specified by this immediate value. Okay. So you can saturate the original value to 8 bits or 9 bits or 10 bits or 16 bits, 32 bits, like that. So that is specified by the immediate value given, and whatever the result, that will be stored to RD. And this shift is optional. This part is optional. Okay, so same thing is true for unsigned saturation also. Okay, so one example is given here. So signed saturation dot W R1. So this is the destination register, hash 16, R0. That means, see, whatever the value is there in R0, some value will be there in R0. You have to saturate that value to 16 bits. You have to saturate that value to 16 bits, and you have to store that value to R1. Whatever the result you will get, you have to store that to R1. Okay. Similarly for unsigned saturation. So we are trying to saturate the values to 16 bits. Right? So if you go for this example, here we are trying to saturate the values to 4 bits. 4 bits. Okay, we are trying to saturate the values to 4 bits. So here in this instruction, we are trying to saturate the values to 16 bits. 16 bits, fine. So there is a table here, so which will show you the saturation values. So this here we are trying to saturate the values to 16-bit, and they are signed values, right? And this saturation, whether saturation takes place or not, it will be indicated using the sticky saturation flag, which is the Q flag. Okay, so if you remember, there are 5 flags: carry, overflow, then then 0, negative. So after that, Q, there is a Q flag, which is in APSR. So Q is sticky saturation flag. This Q flag will be set if saturation happens using this instruction. If saturation takes place using this instruction, Q flag is set. If saturation does not take place, then Q flag is not set. That's all. Okay. So there are examples here. So this is for signed saturation, and we are saturating the values to 16 bits. Okay. So first thing you have to do is you have to first find out what is the maximum value that you can represent using 16 bits. That you have to find out. So using 4 bits we found out. We're using 16 bits. What is the maximum value? So if you go with the formula, it is minus 2 power 16 minus 1 2 plus 2 power 16 minus 1 minus 1. Okay, so if you convert this to decimal, so can anyone tell me what is this value that we will get?
32,768, sir.
2,768.
32,768
minus
760. So it is minus, obviously. So 2.
32,767.
32,767. Okay, so this is the range that we can represent with 16 bits, and it is signed range, right? So if you represent the same thing in hexadecimal, so what will happen is, so it is 4Fs because it is negative value. So negative values usually is indicated using a 1 in the MSB. So this 16 bits is equal to, so it is 8 0 0 0. So this is minus 32,768. So you can check this in your calculator, you will get the same. Minus 32,768 2 plus 32,767. So that is, since it is plus, So first 4 zeros will be there because to indicate plus sign, the MSB is always 0, followed by, so it is F, 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 sorry, E. Okay, so this will be F, 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 E. So this is the range that we can represent using 16 bits. So now, so that is what we will check here. So whether it will be saturated or not. So this is F only. Yeah, this is F. Right? So 4Fs. This is the range that we can represent. So F, 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 F. This is the positive value and this is the negative value. Yeah. So the value input value is 2. So it is 0, 0, 0, 2 followed by 4 zeros. So whether this is within the range. So this is a positive value. You can see that by the 3 zeros that initially come. That means it is a positive value. Right? So whether this 0, 0, 0, 2 followed by 4 zeros, whether whether this is within the range. No, this is not within the range. See, the maximum value is this one. Okay. So sorry, this is 7F. So 32,767. So it is 7F. So 0, 0, 0, 0 followed by 7F, F, F. So you can check this in calculator. So it is F, 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 F. So this is what 32,767 will be. Right? Yeah. So whether this value, the input value which is there in R0 register, which is 0, 0, 0, 2 followed by 4 zeros. Whether this is within this range that we have talked about. No, this is exceeding the range. So the maximum positive value is 4 zeros followed by 7 F, F, F. But the positive value we have got for the input is, so it is 3 zeros followed by 2 followed by 0, 0, 0, 0. So obviously the input value which is there in R0, it is greater than this value, the maximum positive value that we can represent. So immediately what it will do is, it will saturate it. Saturate it is, it will convert this value to the maximum value that can be represented with 16 bits. So what is the maximum value that can be represented using 16 bits? It is 0, 0, 0, 0 followed by 7 F, F, F. Okay. So it will convert this to the maximum value it can represent using 16 bits. And since the saturation has taken place, that is, you have rounded off the value, you have rounded off a more value, the positive value. So what the sticky saturation bit will be set. Okay. So if you go back to the diagram here, so you have got a value which is more than the range that you can represent. Okay. So this is the value that you have got, and this is the range that you can represent. So hence what will happen? Immediately this value will be rounded off to this value. Fine. So that is what is happening in the table. Immediately it is rounded off to the maximum number it can represent using 16 bits, and Q bit is set, indicating that saturation took place. Right. So we will go for the next example. So the input value is 0, 0, 0, 0. That means it is a positive value followed by 8,000. Right. So now the input value is 0, 0, 0, 0 followed by 8,000. So it's a positive value. So whether this is within the range? No, this is not within the range. The maximum value you can represent is this one. 407 FFF, but this is 408,000. This is out of range. This value is out of range, out of the positive range. So hence what will happen? Again, it is rounded off to the maximum positive value that can be represented. Okay, followed by the sticky saturation bit, Q bit will be set, again indicating saturation has taken place. Okay. So next you can see the example. The input values 4 zeros followed by 7 FFF. So since it is 4 zeros initially, that means it's a positive value. Right? And the value is 7 FFF. So whether this is in range, yes, this is in range with this, the maximum value you can represent. 407 FF. So this is in range only. So the value will be kept as it is because it is in range. So whatever the value of R0 is preserved as it is, and the Q flag is not set. You can see there the Q flag is not set, unchanged. So whatever the previous value of Q bit, same will be maintained. Right? So next input value is four zeros followed by 4 zeros. That means it is a 0. Totally it is a 0. So since this 0 is within the maximum positive value we can represent, that is 7FFF. So this value will be preserved as it is. It is preserved, and this Q value will be unchanged because no saturation has taken place. Right? Yeah. So next value, this is important. See, next value is FFFF followed by 8000. That means this is a negative value because initially there are F's. Okay, and we are talking about signed values. Whenever we are talking about signed values and initially you get a F, that means it's a negative value. Fine, it's a negative value. So then what will happen? So it's a negative value. So now we shall see whether this negative value is within the range that we have calculated. Yeah, so the maximum negative value that we can represent is 4F's, FF followed by 8000. And what is the input that we have got now? It is also 4F's, okay, followed by 8000. So whatever the input value that we have got, it is within the range that we can represent, the maximum negative number that we can represent. So hence what will happen? So no saturation will take place. This value is preserved as it is because it is within the range, within the negative range that we can represent. And you can see the saturation bit is unchanged, okay, because no saturation took place. Fine. So remember, we are doing this operation SSAT.W R1, #16 R0. We are trying to saturate the given input value, which is in R0, to a 16-bit value, 16-bit signed value. Right? Yeah. So next value that has come up is, so it is FFFF 7FFF. Fine. So this is the negative value. Again, you can see that by initial 4 F's. Fine. So this is a negative value. So again, you can see this value is not within the range. So the maximum value we can represent negative value is 8000. So this is exceeding 8000. This is exceeding 8000 minus 8000. Okay. So hence saturation will take place here. So saturation will take place means this value, this negative value, which is more than 8000 minus 8000, will be saturated to the maximum negative value that we can represent. So the maximum negative value that we can represent is FFFF followed by 8000. So that is what it is rounded off to. And since rounding is taking place here, rounding off is taking place, the sticky saturation bit Q is set. It will be set. Okay. So next value that is given is, so FFFE. So immediately again you can see that this is a negative value. Okay. This is a negative value followed by 4 zeros. So again, if you convert this to 2's complement and check, okay, so it is more than the maximum negative value that we can represent. It is more than the maximum negative value that we can represent. That is FFFF 8000. So hence, since it is exceeding the maximum negative value that we can represent, so again it will be rounded off to the maximum negative value that we can represent, which is FFFF followed by 8000. So it is rounded off. Since it is rounded off, Q flag is set. Q flag is set. So this is about signed saturation. So next we'll talk about unsigned saturation. So same concept, but here we are not considering negative numbers at all. You can see the range here. So it is starting from 0 and it will go to some maximum range. That's all. So it will not go to the negative part. There is no negative part. You can see here. So the minimum value is 0 and maximum value will be decided by the number of bits you decide. Number of bits that you take to represent the number. So minimum is 0, maximum is this value. So again, so now we'll discuss about this unsigned saturation. Fine. So what you are trying to do here? So there is a value in R0. So you are trying to saturate that value, and it's a unsigned saturation. You are trying to saturate this value in R0 to 16 bits again. So it is 16 bits only, and store the result, whatever the result, in R1. So for this operation, for calculation of this operation, again we have to find out the range. So what is the maximum range that we can represent using 16 bits? Using 16 bits, and it is unsigned representation. Okay, so whenever it is unsigned representation, always there are no negative values. So the minimum value will be 0. The minimum value that you can represent is 0. 2, the maximum value that you can represent is, so it is 2 power. So since we are talking about 16 bits, so it is 2 power 16 minus 1. So sorry, it is not 2 power 16 minus 1. It is 2 power 16 minus 1 here. Fine. So can anyone tell me the value? It is 0 is the minimum value because we are talking about unsigned numbers. So the minimum value will always be 0, no negative values. 0 to, so the maximum value that we can represent is 2 power 16 minus 1. So can anyone tell me what is the value? 2 power 16 minus 1.
65,535, sir.
Yes, it is 65,535. So this is the range. Okay. So if you convert this to hexadecimal, okay, if you convert this to hexadecimal, so minimum value is 0. Fine. So it is 8 zeros. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is the minimum value. 2. Okay. So since we are talking about 16 bits, so the maximum value you can represent is, so since it is a positive value, so first 4 zeros. So zeros indicates it's a positive value. So F. So this is the range. Fine. For 16 bits in unsigned numbers. Fine. So with this in reference, we shall go to the table. So again, remember, we are trying to saturate a value that is there in R0 to 16 bits, and it is unsigned saturation. It is unsigned saturation. Fine. Yeah. So what is the value given in R0? It is 0, 0, 0 followed by 2, 0, 0, 0, 0. So since it is first 3 zeros are zeros, so first 3 values are zeros, it is a positive number only. So the input value, I'll write it down here. It is 3 zeros followed by 2, then followed by 4 zeros. So whether this value here, whether this value is within the range that we can represent, within the positive number range that we can represent, no. So the maximum range is 4 zeros followed by 4f's, but this value is more than the value that we can represent, the positive value we can represent. Hence, what will happen? Rounding off will take place from this value to the maximum value that we can represent. Maximum positive value we can represent. That is, so what is the maximum positive value we can represent? 4 zeros followed by 4f's. That is the maximum value we can represent. And since the rounding off has taken place, saturation has taken place, that is indicated using by setting the Q bit to 1. By setting the bit Q in the APS. Fine. So next input value, you can see it is 4 zeros followed by 8,000. 4 zeros followed by 8,000. So since it is 4 zeros, it is positive value only. It is positive value only, and it is 8,000. Fine. So that means, so whether this is within the range 8,000, yes, it is within the range because the maximum value is 4 zeros followed by 4f's. So the input value given is 4 zeros followed by 8,000. So obviously this value is within the range. So hence no saturation will take place. So whatever the value is preserved as it is. No saturation takes place, and Q flag is unchanged. The Q flag is unchanged. Next value is again it is a positive value. So you can see 4 zeros followed by 7FFF. Yes, it is within the range of the positive values that we can represent. So it is kept as it is, and again the Q bit is unchanged. Okay. So next value is 8 zeros. So 8 zeros means it is a 0. Whether it is within the range that we can represent, yes. So the minimum value we can represent is 8 zeros, which is 0. Yes, so the input that is given is within the minimum value we can represent. So it is kept as it is, no rounding off. So Q bit is unchanged. Fine. So next input value is F followed by 8,000. Fine. So immediately as soon as you see this value, it is a negative value. F. It is a negative value. Fine. So it will be obviously minus something. So minus 20,000 or minus 30,000 like that. Fine. But the maximum, the minimum value that we can represent in unsigned representation is 0. So you cannot go below 0 because it is unsigned representation. Hence, this negative value, if we go to this diagram here, we have got a negative value. So it is less than 0. We have got a negative value. So we cannot represent that. So what we will do is we'll round it off to the minimum value we can represent. So what is the minimum value we can represent? 0. Okay, 0. So this is the minimum value we can represent. So hence, we'll round it off to 0. And since rounding is taking place, Q flag is set, indicating that saturation has taken place. So similarly for the next negative number as well as the negative number. So both are negative numbers. They are saturated or rounded off to the minimum value that we can represent in unsigned representation is 0. And then the saturation flag will be set. Right? So this is about the saturation instructions. Very useful instructions in data signal processing, DSP applications. Signed as